Brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
Welcome to Brutally Honest Talk Radio, where you will learn about an issue minus the BS. We don't always say what you want to hear, but what you need to hear about the issues of the day. Here's your host, Inger, along with Elmo, with his political insight and commentary.
Yes, brothers and sisters, I am Elmo the Conservative. You're listening to Brutally Honest Talk Radio, and don't pinch yourself, you're not dreaming. I'm going to be doing the show alone tonight. Inger Stormborn is not available. She is out sick, not feeling well. Let's all hope for her to have a speedy recovery and to start feeling well soon. So this show is basically just going to be a couple things. Number one, I really want to talk about the emotional speech by a New York City police officer after one of New York City's finest was killed in the line of duty. And we're going to talk about Biden had his first press conference in a year. Last week had a press conference where people were actually asking questions that were not premeditated and lasted a couple hours. We got a few good clips to play and to discuss, or for me to comment on and for y'all to hear, and then of course give feedback to me and to the show. So wherever you may be listening to this on, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, TikTok, wherever it may be, do what you can to save this, share this, give it a thumbs up, give it a high rating, get it out to other people. Definitely download it for people on Spotify and elsewhere. And subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. For those that subscribe on YouTube, click the notification bell. And so let's start off talking about, it was just so compelling when I heard it. And just to set this up a little bit, there was a police officer that was killed in New York. And I don't know who this man is, if he's a lieutenant or an officer that walks a beat. But the words that he spoke to the city to get the support of the people is very powerful. I thought he said that they were in a hospital, maybe the hospital where the officer was taken, but there's a large group of them with the mayor standing next to him, and the mayor that they have now also used to be a police officer. So let's just take a couple of minutes and listen to this.
You know, as we ran into this hospital today, you don't know what to expect, and there were hundreds of police officers running down the street, dropping their cars on the corner, running to this hospital. They were running to this hospital because they just carried two brothers out of a hallway into this hospital to try to save their lives. Hundreds and hundreds of police officers are standing here today because their hearts tell them they have to be here because they feel like they're alone. We got to end that here today. Our hearts are broken. We're in shock. Our knees are buckling. And we're angry because we've been here before. We're angry because we saw it coming. We're angry because we said it was going to happen and it happened again. So tonight, you know, these police officers aren't going to sleep. They're going to be out in the street. They're going to do what they need to do. The ones that go home are going to put their heads on their pillow and they're not going to sleep. And they're going to cry. Well, it's time the city cried with us, and we know they are. But you know what? We stand shoulder to shoulder by the tens of thousands to shoulder our brother. We carried our brother here. We'll shoulder him out this evening. We'll stand in the hallway and we'll pray for a family that's hoping their son, their husband, they come home. But it can't be just us. Yes, we will stand patch to patch and bury our brother. We will bow our heads in sadness. But we need you too. The streets can't just be full of New York City police officers at this funeral. The public has to come. The public has to send a message to anyone that dares to harm a New York City police officer. Not here, not now, not today, not to us. We're humbly asking you to come out and help us. Then when this is over, yes, a conversation, a real conversation, not like our heads are on backwards and we don't know what's going on. We need help. They need help. We need help. It's time to do it now. We're all looking to do it. Give us that help so we can help stop babies from being shot, stop the violence. The guns that are coming in, well, help us take them out of their belts so they never dare pull it again. You know what I'm saying? We all know what we need. It's right in front of us. So now we're going to unite. And we're going to carry a New York City police officer out of this hospital, and we're going to salute the best we can. We're going to do the best we can, and we're going to line the church in front of that church, synagogue, mosque, and do the best we can. But after that, conversation that's real. Laws that are real. Support that's real. Not press conferences. Let's get voting and give us what we need.
The first thing that I have to say, the first thing I want to say is we need to stop saying shit like defund the police. They need our support. And that speech that this officer gave could have been given at any at any city in America. In any city. I'm in Atlanta. And every big city has a crime problem. Everybody knows that. And New York City is up there at the top of the list. So they need our support, just like teachers need our support. We don't want to defund teachers. It's a hard job. People are getting paid to get shot at. And every year, pretty much every city loses at least one police officer every year, so it seems. They need our support. They need the support of the community. When a detective comes around and starts knocking on doors, don't hide. Don't act like you're scared. Scared of your own neighborhood and scared of your neighbors and what's going to happen to you. Law-abiding citizens, the ones that don't want to go to jail, the ones that have respect for law, we need to be on the same side as the cops. That's why we're paying taxes. We're paying their salaries so that they can do their job and come home at night to be with their families. So it threw me off, and they need the support of their community. If you see something, say something. There's no such thing as snitching to me. There's no such thing. Just don't hang out with people that you are deceiving and making them think that you're going to turn the other way, or if they commit a crime that you're blind to it. Don't partner with those people. Don't associate with them. When you see anybody that's committing a crime in your community, and you know, murder is the worst, but I'm talking about any crime. Any crime that's being committed in your community, they are your enemy. The start of the show, you heard me and the sample saying, brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to. My brothers and sisters aren't people that look like me, all right? Or my ancestors happen to come from the same place they come from. My people are good people. That's the side I'm on. Those are the people I care about. Those are people who I'm with. I don't care what race you are. I am on the side of good people. Those are my people. That's my race. I'm a member of the law-abiding citizen race and the do-gooder race. That's my allegiance, is the people that have respect. So I found this on YouTube. Listen to it again. It's so poignant to me. And there needs to be a change. I would like to see every cop in America get a $5,000 raise every 5 years that they're on the force, or let's say $5,000 every 5 years if they're on the street, if they move behind a desk or move into precinct and they're not patrolling, they're not out on the street putting themselves in harm's way, $1,000 raise. I don't know, but we need to take care of them. We need to celebrate them, and they need our support. So that is what it is, and we're gonna roll into talking about Joe Biden's press conference.
Tomorrow will mark 1 year since I took office. It's been a year of challenges, but it's also been a year of enormous progress. But the best days of this country are still ahead of us, not behind us. I'm happy to take questions.
Inflation is up. Your signature domestic legislation is stalled in Congress. In a few hours from now, the Senate, an effort in the Senate to deal with voting rights and voting reform legislation is going to fail. COVID-19 is still taking the lives of 1,500 Americans every day, and the nation's divisions are just as raw as they were a year ago. Did you overpromise to the American public what you could achieve in your first year in office?
I didn't overpromise, but I think if you take a look at what we've been able to do, you'd have to acknowledge we made enormous progress. But one of the things that I think is something that, one thing I haven't been able to do so far, is get my Republican friends to get in the game of making things better in this country.
You mentioned your Republican colleagues, but right now your top two legislative priorities, your social spending package and voting rights legislation, are stalled, blocked by your own party after months of negotiation. You are only guaranteed control of Washington for 1 more year before the midterms. Do you need to be more realistic and scale down these priorities in order to get something passed?
We knew all along that a lot of this was going to be an uphill fight. And one of the ways to do this is to make sure we make the contrast as clear as we can. And one of the things that I think is we're going to have to do is just make the case. I don't think there's anything unrealistic about what we're asking. I'm not asking for castles in the sky. I'm asking for practical things the American people have been asking for a long time.
Is there anything that you are confident you can get signed into law before the midterm elections?
Yes, I'm confident we can get pieces, big chunks of the Build Back Better law signed into law.
Given how ineffective sanctions have been in deterring Putin in the past, why should the threat of new sanctions give him pause?
Well, because he's never seen sanctions like the ones I promised will be imposed if he moves.
The Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said that the midterm elections are going to be a report card on your progress on inflation, border security, and standing up to Russia. Do you think that that's a fair way to look at it?
I think report cards can look pretty good if that's where we're at. But look, the idea that Mitch has been very clear. He's doing anything to prevent Biden from being a success. I get on with Mitch. I actually like Mitch McConnell. We like one another. But he has one straightforward objective. Make sure that there's nothing I do that makes me look good in his mind. Did you ever think that one man out of office could intimidate an entire party where they're unwilling to take any vote contrary to what he thinks should be taken for fear of being defeated in a primary?
Yet, after we sit here for more than an hour, I'm not sure I've heard you say if you would do anything differently in the second year of your term. Do you plan to do anything differently?
Yeah, look, I'm going to go out and talk to the public. I'm going to do public fora. I'm going to interface with them. I'm going to make the case of what we've already done, why it's important, and what we'll do, what will happen if they support what else I want to do. Number 2, I'm bringing in more and more now that I have time. I mean, literally, like you, I'm not complaining. It's 12, 14 hours a day, no complaints. I really mean it sincerely. The third thing that I'm going to be doing a lot more of is being in a situation where I'm able to I'm going to be deeply involved in these off-year elections. Folks, it is now almost 6. With all due respect, I'm going to see you at next conference, okay? Thank you.
All right, so that's a summary of the press conference. You can catch the whole thing online. Before I go in on situation, I want to give Biden credit. He actually stood up and answered questions when he didn't know what the questions were going to be, and did it all by himself for 2 hours. And he didn't seem to have any gaffes or not able to form his words or put his words together. So that's like an accomplishment to me, based on how he's done over the last year, and the fact that during the last 3 months of the campaign before he became president, there were no rallies. There were no press conferences. I mean, he went weeks at a time. That's why people were saying he was in the basement, because nobody could find him. He was chilling with Waldo. Or the people that are over 40 might know about Waldo and the puzzles in the books and the cartoons. So I give him credit for that. Also, like that, the reporters, they weren't giving him soft questions. They said, what do you think that you're going to be able to get past before the primary? And what are you going to do in your second year? Is your second year going to be like your first year? To which Biden answers, yeah, man, it's going to be different. I'm going to go out and talk to the people. That's not what we need. That's not what we need. We need you to faithfully execute the office of the president and to sign bills into law and to get things done. Try to get things done, propose things to get done, and send them to Congress, and then they vote on it, of course. But, you know, I'm a conservative, and he's a puppet for the leftists and the liberals and their agenda. I want to be the kind of person that I acknowledge things on a case-by-case basis. So even though I may not agree with you and your history or your platform, you can still do some good isolated things. We're going to go to another clip in a few minutes, and this guy is summing up Biden so well. But here, I just want people to think. I want to propose a question. You know about the Ukraine situation, and Biden was talking about sanctions. Okay, so a couple questions. I don't know. Is Ukraine our ally? When I say an ally, I'm talking about like Germany, France, Japan, Canada, Italy, Spain, to where we have set up a trust and an agreement where we're obligated to help them fight. We help them. If we get into the skirmish, they help us. They supply a certain number of troops. I don't know anything about this. Just the deal, the scandal with Hunter Biden and Ukraine and their leadership. And you know what happened with that, where Hunter was referring to his father, trying to use him to close some kind of a deal. I don't think we should be over there. And my viewpoint has changed a little bit. Like with the Gulf War, my viewpoint has changed a little bit with Afghanistan and the Iraq War, going to get Saddam Hussein and fighting over there, the Republican Army after 9/11. I thought that it was a good idea to go over there, and it lasted so long, and there's so many people killed. My outlook now is keep a minimum amount of troops over there. We got 8,000 troops at the border. Now, sanctions are not military. I saw that it was going to hurt Putin politically with the sanctions, but sanctions are really strangling an economy, cutting someone off, having an agreement, getting the other countries that do business with them to pull back and not do business. That's basically why no one is doing business with North Korea. No one that I know of. No company. No country. They make their money off the black market of human trafficking. And they're starving because what they're doing to people is terrible. So I don't think that we should be there. But I can tell you this, whatever Biden says he needs to back it up. Whatever his initial threat was to Putin, and when he was saying there's going to be consequences and ramifications and all of this, and there'll be a dire regret if you try to invade and go into Ukraine. Whatever you did, you need to back it up. Because if you don't, the whole world is going to look at you and think you got jelly in your knees and that you're soft. And they're going to keep trying you for the next 3 years or however long you in there. You need to do what you say. I don't think that we should be fighting and have military action over there. You want to have sanctions, that's fine. Just whatever you start with, whatever those threats are, you got to carry them out. That's all I have to say about that. So now let's go to this other summary of this journalist talking about Biden just expressed so well. Check this out.
I never imagined how quickly this would all unfold. The person they sold on the campaign, the nice old, moderate grandpa who just wanted to help everybody get along and compromise, is not what we got over the last year. He has no mandate really to do much of anything. It's amazing that he got a couple of things done when the mandate was really pretty clear. 50-50 Senate, a near 50-50 House, and a pretty close presidential election. The mandate was simply replace Donald Trump and don't do anything drastic or stupid. And everything about this agenda is extremely drastic. And he's been angrier than I think people expected. He's been more divisive. He's been more partisan. You look at the issues. We built 5 years of coverage on Trump out of Russia, COVID, and democracy. The president at his press conference invites Russia to invade the Ukraine. We got more deaths under Biden than Trump. And now we have the president and vice president and leading Democrats question the legitimacy of the 2022 election. Are we any better off on these three issues that we crucified Trump over? I think he has a lot of political problems, and an AP poll came out this morning. Only 28% of Americans want the sitting president to run for re-election, and fewer than half of Democrats. This is a disaster.
Are they able to do, people talk about a reset. Brett Stevens wrote a piece. We're going to talk to him later about, just Bill Clinton was able to kind of tack after a loss.
Yeah, listen, I think they do have to make some changes, and they need to acknowledge where they are. Scott, he gave you a pretty good summation of what the Republican argument is going to be.
Okay, so and let me mention that was Scott Jennings, and he was talking to Anderson Cooper on the CNN channel. So that's a CNN guy talking like that about Biden. And it begs the question, how can Biden and Harris win? How can they run for re-election? Because Biden was just asked last week if he was going to run again. He said yes. And this reporter said, and are you going to have Harris as your running mate? Like, usually that would be expected. Whoever your vice president is, you're running for a second term. So she knew, and a lot of people know, that Harris's numbers, Biden's numbers, a month or so ago, it was like 28 for her, 34 for him. And you can't have numbers like that without it being a lot of Democrat voters that are giving disapproval ratings. So it just begs the question, what are they going to do? And how are they going to do it? How are they going to run again? So I think Biden getting in there was a result of so many people wanted to get rid of Trump. And then, of course, the disaster with the election and accounting of the votes, and it just being so many miscounted votes or unrepresented votes. It just a mess. So now you remove Trump from the picture and you see Biden alone, just based on him, not based on getting rid of somebody, because that somebody is already gone. So that's the state of Biden right now. And, approval ratings, of course, there's a margin of error. Even if they're off by 10 or 12 or 15 points, that's still less than half. Less than half of the country is giving them approval. And I want to mention one more thing, and I'll leave you with this. And I can back this up. I can show anybody if they doubt me on it. when Trump was in there, the 4 years of his term, the 2 times of his term when his approval rating was lowest were both predicated on lies. One was Charlottesville, with CNN and other members of the media doctoring a video to make it look like he said that there were good people on both sides at a Klan rally or a white supremacist demonstration. That was a lie. The 6-minute uncut video is out there for people to see the whole thing. When you watch this, you'll go, oh, they totally changed it. They lied. Trump never said what the media said he said. So, we got time for everything else. This show is going to be about a half hour or less. 6 minutes. If you believe that Trump said that in Charlottesville there were good people on both sides, go watch that 6-minute video. And the other thing was that Trump colluded with the Russians to hack the election. There's a whole big conspiracy with this, with Perkins Coie and the Steele dossier and all of that, hired by the Hillary Clinton campaign to try to find some dirt on Trump. And then, as we know, he was exonerated, I think, less than a year after that. But that was a lie. That was a lie. That was made up. There was no proof of that. Those were the 2 times in a 4-year period where his approval rating was lowest. So with the thing that happened at the Capitol, January 6th, technically Trump was already gone. However, if you watch the speech that he gave, and people say, why are you defending Trump? I'm not. I defend the truth. And you should want to defend the truth too. Now, at the same time, I accept whenever anyone says this is a fact that this person did something wrong, they lied, whatever it is. Of course, I'm an honest person. So I will accept any fact you want to throw on me. But just, one subject at a time. Just as far as this goes. And I know that there's no one that's going to be in there that is perfect. So there's no reason for me to just have a blind allegiance defending anyone as if they're Jesus Christ, who is perfect. Okay? So just think about that. And this is why we must search for the truth. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this episode of Brutally Honest Talk Radio. I gave you all the tips at the beginning about downloading, sharing, rating, and just keep, if you like this show, just keep pushing, getting out there. Definitely keep coming back. Take care. Take care. This is Elmo the Conservative. You're listening to Brutally Honest Talk Radio. We will catch you on the next episode.